What's up? What's up, everybody? It's Monday, June 12th, 2023, Season 1, Episode 6. And this is the Raven from Valhalla Sportscast podcast. Podcast is titled Desperately Seeking a Forbidden Island. More on that later. Hope everybody's doing well. A full week ahead of us. And we're going to jump right into it with football news. 87 days until the start of the 2023-2024 NFL season. 74 days before NCAA men's college football starts. Kind of a weird time of the year. OTAs still going on. These are the mandatory OTAs in the NFL. You get little trickles of news here and there and here. Giants Saquon Barkley says he's going to sit out the season if no contract is done with the New York Football Giants. Dalvin Cook, who was released by the Minnesota Vikings on Friday, says, I know I got released, but I'm due that big money, y'all. I still want big money. Making combat checks into the chat, as does Mark Peters. Dalvin Cook still thinks he is among the elite in the NFL at the running back position. He's probably right. But does a team step up and pay him $10 million a year? I don't know. With the devaluation of the running back in the NFL, I just don't see it happening, y'all. But we will see. We will see. Teams rumored to be interested: Miami, Dallas, among others. More Viking news. Viking pass rusher Danielle Hunter holding out, skipping the team's minicamp per Pelissero on Twitter. Hunter's been the subject of trade talks. I don't know if that's true. I think that is media generated, but subject to trade talks recently per Rap Sheet. And then they put he is only due to make $5.5 million this season. They put that in his head. So what does Hunter do? I'm going to hold out. Nathan says, I will sign you for a big contract, Valhalla. Sign me, Nathan. Pay me the money. Show me the money. XFL finished their season. Champion has been crowned. Can't tell you who it was. Have no idea who won the XFL championship. Didn't bother to look it up. USFL getting near the point where they enter their playoffs. Finally watched a USFL game, about a quarter worth. I believe that was on Saturday. And the question that came to my mind is, can either of these leagues survive? Is the XFL going to survive? Is the USFL going to survive? Both the difference this time is both have contracts, to show on TV. But I don't know. I look at the stands at these games, and the game I was watching for the USFL, we see more people at high school football games than I saw at that football game. I think there were more people at our high school football games here in town And this high school sucks football-wise. So I don't know. Maybe you don't need fans in the stands to survive, but it sure does look pretty brutal. It sure does look pretty brutal. Let's move on. Basketball. The Nuggets are now in full command of the 2023 NBA Finals. They win Game 4 on Friday night against the Heat. 108-95 was your final. And they've now got a 3-1 series lead. Game 5 is tonight, 8:30 Eastern on ABC. Will Denver hoist that first Lombardi? I mean, that first, the first NBA championship. Larry O'Brien, sorry. Will they host their first Larry O'Brien? This is what we were talking about when we named the podcast today. Got a dog drinking water. A lot of it right in front of me right now. NBA series is probably over. I think you're probably right, Mark. I think they will close this out tonight, and Jokic is going to be the MVP, in my opinion. But Denver looking to win their first NBA title since they entered the league in 1967. And I think Jokic is a near lock to be the MVP. That's kind of how the NBA looking right now. No other real news around the league. How's it going, Butterfly? No other real news around the NBA. As I mentioned, it gets kind of sparse. The news gets kind of sparse and quiet as the seasons roll to an end. So let's move right into hockey. Saturday night, the Golden Knights get a victory in Game 4 against the Florida Panthers. They win it 3-2. They now lead that series, the best of 7 series, 3-1. And they're going to look to secure their first ever Lord Stanley's Cup. Series resumes tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. I think Vegas will close that one out as well. UA checks in. Moving on. Baseball, y'all. Men's College World Series field is coming into focus. You got a number of teams punching their tickets to Omaha for the finals. Wake Forest dominated Alabama 22-5 to advance to their first College World Series since 1955. LSU swept Kentucky to secure its spot. And Oral Roberts in Virginia came up big in Game 3 in their Super Regionals to advance on Saturday. Number 2 Florida swept South Carolina in the Gainesville Super Regional, and TCU completed its sweep of number 14 Indiana. Others hoping to advance in the next couple days: Stanford, Texas, Tennessee, and Southern Miss. AJ checks in. Let's take a quick look at the MLB standings, y'all. Quick look at the MLB standings. Rough road trip for my Dodgers, of course. But the Rays, AJ checks in, and his Rays are still in first in the American League East by 5.5 games now over Baltimore. Baltimore got that close. They're on a 4-game win streak, but they've been 6-4 in their last 10. And they're still having trouble making up that ground. In the American League Central, the Twins still lead it by 1.5 games over the Cleveland Guardians. Cleveland 6-4 in their last 10. The Twins 4-6. So kind of in a holding pattern there. In the American League West, the Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers, 641 win percentage, have a 5-game lead over the Houston Astros. Again, another division where one team is 6-4, the other one is 4-6 in the last 10. So again, another one where it's kind of just holding serve as we go through early June. Let's move on to the National League. The Atlanta Braves, 40-25. They lead the National League East by 3.5 games over the Miami Marlins. Marlins 8-2 in their last 10, but the Braves are 8-2 as well. So they can't make up any ground. Phillies, a big series win over the Dodgers this weekend, are 8 games back still. In the National League Central, Pittsburgh Pirates 34-30. They're holding on for dear life. Actually, they've moved into first. They passed Milwaukee for first place in the National League Central. 34-30 record, 4 games over 500. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Meanwhile, Milwaukee playing 500 baseball, and they drop out of the top spot. Cincinnati coming on strong, 4 games back. In the National League West, the Dodgers have lost control of this division. Pitching killing them. And the Diamondbacks are the cardiac kids. They're 8-2 in their last 10. 40-25 on the season. They've got a 3.5 game lead on the Dodgers. The Giants, 7 games back. San Diego, 9 games back. The only team playing winning baseball, the Diamondbacks. Must win. Oh, Tyler Hero, you're talking about basketball. All right, moving on. So that's what it looks like in the MLB right now, y'all. We made it through everything real quick. Now we're going to go to the overtime segment, y'all. The overtime segment. And we got a lot in the overtime segment today, including a very interesting rabbit hole that I traveled down this weekend. But in NASCAR, Martin Truex Jr. won at Sonoma. So he gets the win. He is now the points leader in NASCAR, first position. They've got a week off now. They're going to take a week off for Father's Day. Then they go to Nashville for the Ally 400. That's some more short track racing, and it's much needed because these road course races are boring as hell. They're absolutely boring. But they'll be short track racing in 2 weeks. A big notable from this weekend, Kevin Harvick passed Jeff Gordon for the all-time Cup starts at 806. So he now passes Gordon on the all-time list for most starts. Top 10 in points in NASCAR as of today. Truex Jr. leads the way. William Byron in second. Ryan Blaney third. Ross Chastain fourth. Kevin Harvick sits in the 5th position, still seeking his first victory. Kyle Busch in 6th. Christopher Bell 7th. Denny Hamlin 8th. Joey Logano 9th. And Kyle Larson 10th. As I mentioned, they got a week off. In tennis, Novak Djokovic wins the French Open. Novak has the most Grand Slam titles now in men's tennis history, and he ties Serena Williams, who has that record on the ladies' side. Both of them have won 23 Grand Slam titles. Interesting story in soccer. The Glazer family, they're having a meeting today to decide who they're going to let buy Manchester United Football Club. 4 of the Glazer kids, apparently there is 6 Glazer kids. 4 of them want to sell the club, and they're leaning towards an offer from the Qatari royal family. So you've got 6 kids. They're the voting interest here that are going to decide this. Some of them want to just sell off a portion of the team to get capital. But at least 4 of the boys want to sell the team outright to Qatar. They say that Manchester United is worth anywhere between 3.8 billion. Yes, I said billion with a B. 3.8 billion and $6 billion. Holy crap. Holy crap. So that'll be interesting to see what they decide. They're going to vote. They'll vote, decide whether they want to sell off all or part. And if they sell it all off, it's likely going to be sold to that fella, that sheik out of Qatar. And it's probably going to cost them close to $6 billion. That shit's crazy. In golf, Nick Taylor wins the Canadian Open after draining a 72-foot putt. 72-foot putt, y'all. Nick Taylor, nobody knew who he was going into the weekend. And he wins the Canadian Open, drains the 72-foot putt. His buddy, good friend, comes running up to congratulate him. And a security guard absolutely slobber knocks him, destroys him, form tackles him, comes around the winner of the tournament, football style, sees his friend popping a bottle of bubbly to shake it and spray it on his buddy. And the security guard absolutely obliterates him. Absolutely obliterates him. That was crazy. Boxing. What the hell happened last night, y'all? There's a fight, an exhibition fight between Floyd Mayweather and a guy named John Gotti III. John Gotti, fight stopped. The fight is stopped. They award the win to Mayweather, and bedlam breaks out in the boxing ring. Punches thrown. Like 40 people in the ring. Tommy said he was the first Canadian to win that Open in years. But yeah, that was crazy, the Mayweather fight there. And it didn't end in the ring either. I mean, they had a full-on brawl in the ring, and then it spilled out into the hallways and continued on. And it didn't matter if you were male or female, they were throwing blows. Throwing absolute haymakers. All right, so to close out this show, I told y'all that I went down a rabbit hole on Friday night. Went down an absolute rabbit hole. The North Sentinel Islands, y'all. North Sentinel Islands. It's a small island off of India. There's a group of people that live on the North Sentinel Islands. They're indigenous to that island. It's believed that they've been there for thousands of years. Yeah, so you heard it right. Thousands of years. They're not sure how many are there. They're not sure how many are there. They think it could be as low as 50, as high as 600. These people have been there a long time. And you're not allowed to mess with them. They're protected. The Indian Army patrols the island. Nobody is allowed within, I think it's 4 nautical miles of the shores. And I read about them and I was like, that shit's crazy. They're not real friendly, y'all. They're not real friendly. They don't like visitors. They don't like people coming in to visit them. Through its history, there have been some people that have gone to try to check it out. What's up, Dab Dave? There have been some people through the history that have checked it out. In 1771, y'all, you remember the United States was 1776, right? So before the United States was even born, a British surveyor named John Ritchie going by on a boat, he sees a bunch of lights out there. And he says, man, I wonder what all that is. Why are there lights on that island? Likely fires, right? Towards the end of that year, Nineveh, an Indian merchant ship, was wrecked on the reef near the island. 106 surviving passengers and crewmen, they land on the beach. For the next days, they have to fend off attacks by the Sentinelese who are shooting arrows and throwing spears at them. Crazy. They don't want nobody there. Then you got 1880. Still a long time ago, y'all. A guy named Maurice Vidal Portman. He wants to go there and research the natives and their customers. He gets there, he finds a network of pathways, several small abandoned villages. After several days, 6 Sentinelese, an elderly couple and 4 children, are taken to a place called Port Blair. Likely an expedition port. The officer in charge wrote that the entire group sickened rapidly and the old man and his wife died. So they sent the 4 kids right back to the island with a bunch of presents. So they don't have any, no inoculations, no medicine on the island to keep off sickness. So if they come in contact with people not from the island, they run risk of dying, right? But Portman is not done yet. He goes back in 1883. They land on the island. They leave gifts. They go back. Portman continues to visit the island from 1885 to 1887. So then India gets its independence in 1967. Cargo ship runs aground on the reefs in mid 1977. Captain of the ship radios for an urgent drop of firearms. His crew needs to defend themselves. They're being attacked by the people on the island. These people get out. They're rescued by helicopter. An Indian oil and natural gas company comes in and gets them off the island, saves them from sure death. The Sentinelese are known to have scavenged both shipwrecks for their iron, likely using it for tools and spear tips. And it goes on like this, y'all. Nobody can leave people alone nowadays, right? You can't leave people alone. So they keep trying to go back. In 1991, a guy named Trilonath Pandit, he's a director in India of an anthropological survey group. You make friendly contact on the island, dropping some coconuts, other gifts to the people. And they leave. So they stop going there in 1997. In 2004, there's a big Indian Ocean earthquake. They're worried. The government in India is worried that, okay, the tsunami that occurred and all that, maybe it killed off all the people on the island. 2 Indian fishermen, Thunder Ray and Pander Tiwari, they're fishing illegally, and they were killed by the Sentinelese when their boat drifted too close to the island. They're just at fishing, y'all. And the Sentinelese say, "Whoa, dog, you're not supposed to be within 5 miles. Hold this spear." They kill them both. No prosecutions made. The last guy to do it, last guy to go to the island was November of 2018. An American missionary, his name's John Allen Chow. He goes to the island a number of times, knowing there's laws against going there. Managed to find some fishermen that'll take him to the outskirts of the island. He makes a number of excursions over a couple days where he gets close and he's face to face with the tribe, with members of the tribe. And they keep making it pretty clear they want him to go away. And he wants to teach them about Christianity. Finally, they kind of scare him off, so he gets back on his little boat, goes back out to the fisherman boat, writes in his journal, I think I'm going to die if I go back there. He goes back. And he's killed. His journal was correct. He is killed. The Sentinelese put his body on the beach for all to see so that they have a record. This guy came here and he's not here no more. And then they bury him. The Sentinelese bury him on the island. And that's the last they've been there, y'all. I found that crazy interesting. They don't want to be converted. They don't want to be messed with at all. They're saying that these people, their civilization, their tribe, predates BC, y'all. That's crazy. They don't know who they worship. They don't know who they worship. They don't know their customs. They don't know anything about them, just that they don't want people on the island. I found that crazy interesting, y'all. How long before somebody screws that up? I don't know. But man, what an interesting read. What an absolutely interesting read. That's kind of going to be it today, y'all, for Raven from Valhalla, the Sportscast podcast. I'm watching Rocky the Dog again today. We wrote the Bible, says Michael Cedillos. 1 billion BC, interesting movie. SD says, drop a nuke. You shut your mouth, SD. They need to let him be. I agree with Mark. Isn't that interesting, though, chat? Tell me what y'all think about that. I mean, what do you think their way of life is? I mean, we've got an issue. If it's between 50 and 500 on the island, we've obviously got an issue with inbreeding. Right? Man, that's crazy interesting. How do they manage to survive? I mean, these people survived a tsunami. Thanks, historian Jeff. Do more history. I love it, y'all. I love it. That's what overtime's going to be about, y'all. Is I'm going to find something weird to talk about. I'm going to find something weird to talk about. But I was just absolutely mouth aghast reading up on this thing. Go to Wikipedia and read it, y'all. It's crazy. And then read the story of this last guy that went there, the American. Read his story. I studied them in anthropology, fascinating of what we know about them. But we know so little about them. What's up, Bobby? They worked with what they had, of course. You can tell SD can't handle the subject material. They know no different. Exactly. They're just surviving, right? They're just surviving. They're like, oh shit, here comes another one of them big waves we had 200 years ago. Here comes another one of those big ass waves. But I mean, that's cool, I think, of the Indian government to protect them and to allow them to just live their life, right? I think that's so cool of the Indian government. Because in today's day and age, there's some jackwagon with way too much money that would love to make that a resort. Can't miss what you don't have. That's true, Butterfly. At least they aren't eating artificial food, says SD Gaiman. Apparently, one of the main food sources on the island is wild hogs. Tommy says it's sad that we learned more about them in early 1900s than in the last 50 years. Well, I think they probably got a taste of it, Tommy, and said, "You know what? We don't want that. We don't want you anywhere near here." But I mean, seems like you could send a drone in there maybe to observe them, but they'd probably just throw it down, take it down with some spears. I saw a picture of a plane, a prop plane that flew over the island, and I couldn't count the number of arrows that were sticking out of the bottom of that sumbitch. There were way too many to count. Yeah, there are videos on it on YouTube, D-Way. But I mean, they've got, the island there is right on top of a tectonic plate. So earthquakes are always going to be a thing. And with earthquakes come tsunamis. And then, with all these people doing YouTube videos and shit, someone's going to try to get there to film a YouTube video. But the danger is meeting them could kill them. You know what I mean? They are not a welcoming committee at all. That's correct, Bobby. That is correct. Butterfly says, "What about aliens?" I think I'm going to do an alien show this week, maybe Wednesday. Well, this podcast, y'all, I'm not going to do it every day, Monday through Friday. I'm going to do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I've decided. Because it's hard to fill even 30 minutes on your own. But we don't even know if they speak a language at all, D-Way. I mean, we don't know how they communicate. We don't know any of that. Apparently, there's like a lot of yelling that goes on. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to jump out of here. We'll see you in the next Raven from Valhalla, the Sportscast podcast. This is the end of episode 6. Peace. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Raven from Valhalla, a Sportscast podcast. I appreciate you taking some time out of your busy day. If you're watching today's show on YouTube, please subscribe to the Valhalla Sports Talk YouTube channel. Give the video a like and turn on notifications so you know when Valhalla Sports Talk posts videos or goes live. If you're a Google Podcast listener, please follow and bookmark this page. Have a great day, and remember, when a Raven from Valhalla brings the sports news, you know it just got serious.